Alright, so I bought the Insta360 X5 and also bought DJI's Osmo360 to compare both of them because I previously owned the Insta360 X4 and I was very happy with the results, and therefore I thought, well, I should upgrade because these ones are very useful on motorcycles because actually you don't never miss a shot because you can reframe what you see in the video. So I really like them. So, and the most important thing is this video is not sponsored, and let's dive in. Oh yeah, and there's one more thing. The plan is, because I'm very smart, afterwards I'm gonna write Insta360 or DJI if they would sponsor me with a partnership. Whether I keep this one or this one, I don't know yet. So yeah, let's see how this plan works out. Regarding the equipment, the Osmo360 has a slightly bigger sensor than the Insta, but the Insta counters with 3 AI chips. A bigger sensor is the old school way to get a better image quality. It's always good, but artificial intelligence is literally not stupid. Max resolution, both 8K DJI with up to 50 frames per second, Insta with 30 frames per second. Advantage here, DJI. For slow motion in 4K, the Osmo does 100 frames per second, the X5 does 120 frames per second. Advantage for the Insta. DJI comes with 10-bit video, Insta has only 8-bit, but the Insta360 X5 has adaptive tone, which balances out dark areas. The Osmo weighs 183 grams, the Insta weighs about 200 grams, so advantage Osmo360 here. And honestly, it just keeps going on like that. So pure specs won't help much here. One special feature of the Insta, although, the dash cam mode, that is pretty sick. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of a power user. I use these cameras like at least every third day, and I use them worldwide and in all conditions. But just reading the specs, I can't see the winner, so we definitely need to hop onto the bike. In the end, what matters is which camera delivers the better image. We start with full resolution front view with a wild mounting position on the crash bars. And that's where 360 cameras shine. Can't get that kind of shot guaranteed with a normal action cam. And honestly, they look very similar. Both are incredible with stabilization without weird warping, but normal daylight shots are just too easy. So I started during the blue hour, tried both in normal 8K mode, and wow, both impressed me. When we zoom in, you see Insta looks a bit over sharpened with too much of a contrast. That's their standard setting, which works great in daylight, but in tricky light you have to adjust the settings and suddenly the Insta looks better close up. But the truth is, in real life you don't see it like this. It's more like this. And for me, it's hard to pick a clear winner. What do you think? So I switched to pure video, respectively super night mode, and 2 scenarios, forest and city. In the forest, both hold up really well despite the shaky movement. That's really heavy work for the processor and both do a great job. But in the city, this is where AI shines. For me, Osmo is sometimes too bright, too warm, and not sharp enough. Yes, you can fix that in post, but these are straight out of camera. Look at the speedometer or the window signs where the X5 does a much better job. Another mode I use a lot is 5.7K HDR with adaptive tone on the X5. It automatically adjusts to fast light changes, like when riding in and out of forest, and overall I find the results better, and I just have to adjust the situation or lower the saturation and fine-tune it in DaVinci a little bit. With the Osmo, you could film in D-Log, that's some sort of a RAW format, but here's a problem. So you can film with this in log format, yes, but the program I use to cut my videos is Blackmagic's DaVinci Resolve, and you cannot import 360 degree log files into DaVinci. So you have to export it as an MP4 and then import it back to DaVinci, and then you lose the advantage of the log footage, which means you have to do the color grading in the DJI software. And we're going to talk about this software later on. But color grading is an art. Yeah, for example, look at the movie Dune, which is highly color graded, but it's an awesome movie. But this is an art, and of course, none software from DJI or from Insta360 can keep up with DaVinci regarding color grading. So this log format is kind of useless. It still films in 10-bit, which is better than 8-bit. But yeah, log format is somehow useless. But back to the image quality. Both clips are rendered with 80 megabits per second. On DJI, that's on mode high. On Insta, I could go up to 200 megabits per second, which results in even better quality, but crazy big file sizes. For special moments like your first knee down, why not? So my conclusion on the image quality, it's really hard to tell. So after I finished the video for my German channel, I kept on testing, and somehow I feel like if you're not moving, if you're standing still, the DJI in daylight, or even when the sun's going down, has a better image quality. It also shows the details of trees better than the Insta. The advantage of the Insta I see in the pure night mode, when you're riding through a city, these images look ridiculous awesome, and I think better than on the DJI. Plus, I recognize one thing, so I made this video about Temu, where I tested products from Temu, and I mounted this one on the back of a car, and the results were not really good. So I think the Insta is more reliable on the quality, so it delivers always the same quality. Oftentimes I feel DJI is a little bit ahead in terms of image quality, but sometimes it just falls completely apart. It's really strange. I think it's a software problem, but yeah, it's hard to rely on it. Another big advantage, no, we're going to talk about this later. And one more thing about the battery use. After all the night shots, DJI still had 50% battery left. The Insta had 63%. So DJI used 50%, Insta only 37%. That's around 35% less efficiency on the DJI. And I didn't even use the big X5 batteries. Another important feature is audio quality, and this here is the mic, the wireless mic of the Insta360, and this one of course is DJI's mic too. Basically, when we're just looking at the mics, I love the size of this because it fits in front in the helmet perfectly. It's very small, it holds up with magnets, so that's really awesome. Generally, I love the sound of this one a little bit bigger. I mean, this has like 4 times the size of this one. The good thing is you can get these both work together. So yeah, sound wise, I would give it to the mic 2 instead of this mic, but as long as you can pair these two, I'm still good with it. But the main difference is the inbuilt mic, which is crazy on the Insta360. So I don't know if it is the biggest game changer, but it's at least important. So the sound you get from the X5 is really usable, which is astonishing, while this one just sounds like a normal action cam and is complete crap. But this is actually usable, and yeah, I like what they did here. Another big point is accessories. The worst shot is the one you can't make because you cannot mount the camera. And you've seen it in every video swapping the Insta X5 lenses. That's pretty easy, and someone asked me, why do you need that? Well, without lens protection, the shots just look better, sharper, and the glass lens is not as sensitive to fingerprints as the plastic covers. The X5 also has a hard lens cover, but you actually don't need it. So I really put the X5 to the test, and here you can absolutely trust me. With DJI, you must send in the camera if the lens is broke. It costs only $25, but if that happens right before your trip, well, that's bad luck. Pretty nice with the Osmo360, the same batteries fit in as in direction cams, that's pretty cool. They also offer the most important mounts right away. Insta360, well, they offer everything and more because they have been in the market longer. Even a golden selfie stick, well, whatever, they just have it. But there are 2 or 3 things I really love. First, the GPS remote, worn like a smartwatch with a preview of your shot. That's amazing for bikers, and you can even start the camera with just a hand movement. It's not cheap by any means, but if it also works as a watch, well, that's very cool. ND filters are also a big plus for the Insta. The vertical mount is also great. With a chest mount, you can mount the camera even lower, which gives you even more epic shots. And yes, I know, it's absolutely silly, but for 64 euros, you can swap the lenses of the Insta so it looks like the all-seeing eye of Sauron. No jokes, this is completely useless. But this totally gets me. I'm such a marketing victim. But for accessories, this part clearly goes to the Insta360. And one more thing, which is like the most annoying, but somehow the most important, is software. Especially when you cut a lot of videos like I do. Software is really important. And yes, I know you can adapt the software afterwards, or you can change it all the time actually. But we have to work right now with what we got. But first, both cameras must be registered in the apps. Annoying in both cases. On the Insta360 it was easy, just clicking through. On the DJI it's this Mimo app. And I already hated that with the Action 4, it's just not good. I even had to uninstall and reinstall it. Now, about editing. With these cameras you basically record a globe. Later you must decide which frame to show. And the next big problem is auto tracking. It's not available for the DJI app for Windows users. The feature only exists on Mac, so what the fuck. For a short clip maybe okay, but for a longer third person view I need stable auto tracking. Without it, it's basically useless for me. I mean, as I said, I wouldn't overrate software because DJI can adapt to it, but there's one more thing, and this is the duration of exporting. So it takes like 3 to 4 times longer to export these files compared to the Insta, which kind of makes this camera useless for me because I do not have the time. I can't render like 5 to 6 hours for 5 clips and let my PC run overnight. That's not how it works, man. That's not okay. So conclusion, first thing, if you want these kind of shots, you must go out, record and edit. Both cameras can clearly do it, but you need a lot of editing skills. Straight out of camera, they don't look like this. Let's be a little critical. The critiques for the Insta360 is surprising, about $100 more expensive. Well, done from DJI, I guess. 8K video, Insta only 30 FPS, Osmo 50. I always film in 30 FPS, it looks more cinematic. File sizes are smaller, but having more frames available is always better. The weight, well, the Osmo is lighter by 17 grams and easier to fit onto the helmet. And another critique for the Insta, there's no internal storage. That's handy when the SD card is full or if you just forgot it. Let's critique the Osmo a little. The battery life, as I said, Insta was clearly ahead in my tests, but overheating, I had no problems on the bike, of course, because they're literally air cooled. Another one for the Osmo, no interchangeable lenses. Yes, the Osmo has lens protection, but you must set the right mode yourself and quality drops a bit. Software is, I guess, the biggest fuck up for me. The export speed is not great. Also, it splits recordings into separate files, which can be annoying. And last but not least, audio. About the same as a normal action cam, and without an external mic, not good enough at all. But the most important thing is, like, none of these two cameras is a complete disaster. So both of them worked. They never lost a file. No file was corrupted or anything. It's the same for the X4. It also always works. So this is on the plus side. And I kind of love both of them for what they are. So I love the DJI that it's basically capable of being mounted in front of your face on the helmet. So when I did the ATV test video, I just had the DJI always in front of my face, because when you're riding downhill or uphill and it's very steep, with a normal action cam, you will just see nothing, or just sky or just the ground. And here you can just reframe. And in this purpose, I really love the DJI. And also when you know you're going into the woods or you have a lot of trees, I feel like trees look much more natural on the DJI. On the other hand, I love the Insta for, well, actually I just got really used to this kind of size from the camera. I really like to touch it, and yeah, that's not as good as here, but I really like to work with these cameras, especially the X5, and I like that it's so consistent in its output. So sometimes it's not as good as a DJI, but it's always stable on a very high level. This is what I love. I love the internal mic, which is awesome. I love the pure video mode, which is awesome. And did I mention accessories? Yeah, accessories are really cool, except for them being very expensive. What I really hate, that they changed the batteries. So the X4 batteries do not fit anymore. That's really annoying. Yeah, but overall, both cameras work. They're both usable. I think it's easier to fit this one into your universe if you're also already using the Action 5 Pro, for example, or DJI drones. The swappability, I don't know if this word exists, of the batteries and the accessories is really awesome on the DJI. Well, so as I said, this test is not sponsored. I hope you learned something today. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.